Alright everyone, I want to welcome you all back to some more Reincarnation. I also want to thank you guys for the love and support you all continue to show this series. I greatly appreciate it. And so far, currently guys, we finally see the conclusion of the story between Yukimasa and Pauline. And it's both twisted and riveting. That much I can say, guys. So I won't spoil the fun for you all. I'll let you all see for yourselves what you're about to witness, and y'all let me know what you think, because, yeah, it's pretty interesting nonetheless. If anything else, guys, thank you again for watching. Now let's keep it rolling. Alright, everyone, and we are back. The pieces were too vague to see or who, where it was, or if it was even a memory of something that actually occurred. But what did it matter? Why would I uphold a vow I knew nothing about in a dream? For years I'd held back, fought the urges, kept my word. It didn't even matter if it was the first or the third time I'd killed her. This was a dream, and I was going to do as I pleased. That was the whole reason I was having the dream in the first... This was a dream. This indescribably lifelike sensation was a dream. Those incomparably vivid cries were a dream. No. No, they weren't. The fog of my dreams rapidly receded, and my narrowed vision filled out. Pauline was splayed out limply beneath me. For a brief moment, I questioned what she was doing in my room, but quickly discarded the thought as unimportant. Did I actually kill Pauline? I put a hand on her chest and my ear to her lips, but nothing. She wasn't breathing. I shook her by the shoulders. I slapped her cheeks, but nothing brought the light back to her eyes. Have you tried CPR, dude? I shouted her name. I shook her some more. I smacked her again. I repeated this cycle who knows how many times, but I got no more reaction out of her than a mannequin. Or call the ambulance. Out of other ideas but desperate to do something, I started performing CPR. Ah, there you go. I had no idea if I was doing it correctly, or if it was even the right thing to do in this situation. For as many ways as I could devise to kill a man, I was clueless about how to save one. But I just couldn't sit around and do nothing. Hands that only ever brought pain were now trying to reverse it. Fingers that knew only the taste of blood now sought to imbue life. And I was painfully aware of the irony when these same hands had squeezed the life out of her in the first place. I blew air into her dozens of times, but Pauline's body remained limp. Sweat dripped from my forehead onto her ghostly white cheeks. With each new attempt to resuscitate her, the bed beneath us creaked like a screeching banshee. Pauline! Pauline! I shouted her name. I pressed the heel of my hand into her breast. I blew into her mouth. I had been going in circles for who knew how long, but her eyes remained murky and gray. Her mouth hung faintly open, but no sound slipped through her lips. Neither her voice calling my name nor the whisper of her breath. This was a moment I had so dearly longed for. Yet all I felt was maddening despair. I had destroyed her once again. I had killed her. Yet again. I had failed to uphold my vow. Failed to protect the one person I needed most. The one person who should have lived. This was proof I would never change. That I would always be a savage, bloodthirsty beast. No, even beast was too good for me. I was no more than a lowly fiend. It didn't matter how many tries you gave me. I would always travel down the same path. I should have distanced myself from her before it reached this point. Pushed her away. At least then she would be able to live in peace, as she wished. I should never have let her in. And when I reached the deepest depths of my thoughts, Pauline's throat spasmed. My eyes went wide, and the next second, she took in a huge breath. Whew, okay. I'm so thankful she's alive. Whew, that was close. A glimmer had begun to return to her eyes.
Polly!
私、何が。雪まさ。そっか、私。よかった。正気に戻ったんだね。ほっとしたよ。
ポーリー、すまない。痛い思いをさせてしまって本当にすまない。
でもほら生きているし大丈夫だよ。
She is way too forgiving. That water under the bridge, you almost died. How was anything okay? She had been mere moments from death, and I had pushed her there. How could she be smiling at me like this when I had just strangled her? Why did she not berate me? Where did the overwhelming gentle warmth in her eyes come from? Pauline took a few minutes to catch her breath and collect herself, for which I sat and waited in silence. The only sound in the night was the rhythmic ticking of the second hand. She didn't make eye contact with me, and I obviously couldn't look her in the eyes, so time simply flowed like molasses between us. After what felt like forever, she let out a strained, "I'm alright now." I nodded, and then turned to her and handed her my phone.
警察を呼んでくれ。そして俺を突き出せ。俺はお前に何を言われても事実だと認める。
Her eyes went wide. But the confusion only lasted a few seconds, and her face quickly twisted into a grimace. She wasn't a child. She knew good and well what I had done. That I had attempted to murder her. We were assailant and victim.
その前にちゃんと聞かせてほしいな。あなたのことを。私ちゃんと知りたいの。
俺に殺されかけたのに話がしたいって。お前正気か。
そうだよ。だって納得したいもの。私を嫌いで殺したかったっていうなら話は別だけど、そうじゃないんだよね。
There was no better reason. I could claim I simply panicked, but what I did went far beyond any reasonable definition of panic. And even though I did believe it was a dream in the moment, my desire to kill her was no less sincere for it. Nothing I could say could possibly justify or explain away my actions.
私ね、安心がしたいわけじゃないの。私にとって都合のいい理由が欲しいんじゃないの。本当のあなたのことを知りたいの。
Her words cut off my train of thought. It was beginning to sound like she knew that the man I was around her, that the man I was around her was a mere facade. She looked me straight in the eyes. Her gaze was unflinching, determined. Are you serious? Do you really want to see what lies beneath the mask? Are you really prepared to cross that line?
大丈夫。覚悟はできているつもりだよ。だか から教えて。
Are you absolutely sure about this, Pauline? Are you sure you want to shatter the illusion of me being a respectable boyfriend?
そうか。わかった。それなら俺も腹をくくって正直に話す。何もかも洗いざらいに俺の醜い本質のすべてを。
And so I laid everything out for her, the nature and the extent of my desires. That I had been deeply enamored with others' pain since I was a child. That anyone I interacted with, I was constantly imagining them dying. That I had not yet killed anyone, but I had done everything short of it. I told her where I had been this evening, and that it was something I did regularly. And finally, I confessed to fantasizing about killing her too. She sat and listened quietly the entire time. Her only reaction was to occasionally grimace. My whole life I reveled in causing others pain, but seeing her so emotionally devastated, I felt the pang of regret for the first time in my life.
だからお前は俺を通報するべきなんだ。これ以上お前自身が傷つかないためにも。殺人はかろうじて犯していないものの、このままではいつそうなるかわからん。それに暴行罪なら腐るほどある。牢獄にぶち込まれる条件は揃っているんだ。ポーリン、すまなかった。苦しみを与えてしまったことも、それから俺のような人間に付き合わせてしまったことも。お前は俺ではなくまともな男と寄り添うべきだ。お前は普通の女だ。それが一番似合っている。お前の手では通報できないというのなら、俺は自首する。だからポーリン。
ダメだよ。通報もしないし、自首をするのもダメ。
しかしそれだと。
どうして今まで自首しようなんて思わなかったのに、今になってそんな決断をしたの？私を殺しかけたから？あなたにとって私って結構大切な存在だったんだ。
言っただろう。俺はお前のことが大切だと。そばにいると俺は自分が異常者であることを忘れられる。ただそれは。
言って。大丈夫だよ。私ちゃんと聞くから。本当のこと知ろうとするから。
俺がお前に抱いているのはお前と同じ感情ではない。つまり愛ではないんだ。自分の欲望を抑えるための鎖で。言ってしまえば自分のためにお前を必要としている。全部が俺自身の勝手なエゴでしかないんだ。
そっか。じゃあい つもは私に合わせてくれていただけだったんだね。
Her response was surprisingly cool-headed, considering I had just explicitly told her I didn't love her. But the smile she wore appeared to be on the verge of tears.
だからお前は俺を見放していい。俺はお前を幸せにできないし、お前も俺のところでは幸せになれない。
あのね、私だってエゴだと思うんだ。あなたのことを好きだって思うこの気持ちって。だってあなたを思うと私が嬉しいからそうしているだけなんだもの。私が勝手にあなたのことを好きなの。そりゃ愛じゃないって言われてちょっとは悲しいよ。そっか、あれって全部演技だったんだって。でも悲しいけどそんなに辛くはないの。だって私が大切な存在っていうのは事実なんでしょ。同じ感情じゃなくたって無関心じゃないならずっといいよ。
お前は何を言っているんだ。俺は自分が犯罪者だと告白したんだぞ。お前は俺を嫌うべきだし、もう見放すべきなんだ。
そんなのできればそうしたいよ。でもできないんだもん。仕方ないでしょ。
I let out a gasp at her sudden outburst. No, it probably wasn't sudden. She was just acting collected and could no longer keep it up. And how could I blame her? If anything, her reaction was still restrained for everything I'd done.
さっきから何度も嫌いになろうって努力した。でも全然できないの。見捨てたいのに見捨てられないの。あなたがやったことは分かってる。でも警察になんて出せないし言ってほしくもない。私だってすっごく悩んで困ってるんだよ。割り切れるような簡単な感情じゃないの。たった2ヶ月しか付き合っていないはずなのにどうしてなの。自分が一番わからないよ。
ポーリー、すまない。
Surely there was something more appropriate I could say to her. But a trite, uninspired "I'm sorry" was the best I could manage. She put her head in her hands and sobbed, and then after some time, she looked up, wrapped her arms around me, and squeezed.
私考えたんだけど、あなたは喜びの感覚がずれているんだよね。
I just want to see this picture right now. Look at this. And look at the way he's looking at her. It's like he made it clear he doesn't feel the same way, but he has to understand warmth in a hug, right?
ああ、
例えばね、私がワンちゃんを見て可愛いなって思ったり、素敵なお洋服を見てわーって喜んだり、そういう物事に対して嬉しいって思う気持ちが、あなたは人を傷つけることに向かっているんだよね。
そういうことになるな。お前の例え話だと途端に緩い内容に聞こえてしまうが、
ごめん。でも分かりやすいかと思って。それって考えたらすごく辛いことだから。
You know, looking at this picture and the way Yukimasa looks here in this part right now, he reminds me a little bit of Koto Minakire from Fate's Stay. Like they have very similar interests in terms of their character traits because they both have this subtle, not even subtle, it's hidden need to like wanna kill someone or torture them, so on and so forth.
社会が認めてくれないことをどうしても欲しがってしまう。そんな人が望みを叶えながら生きられる世界なんてないよね。一線を越えてしまうか、ずっと耐え続けるか。人の社会で生き続ける限り、その二択しかない。耐えながら生きていくのは辛いし苦しいし大変だよ。好きなことも隠し続けなければいけないし。
I'm just more surprised Pauline is embracing this, or she's willing to let Yukimasa in, knowing everything, all his dark desires and whatnot.
だからそう思ったらあなたのことがかわいそうになったの。
よせ、俺に同情してどうする。哀れむのは俺に対してじゃないだろう。俺に傷つけられてきた多くの人間の方だ。
そうだね。普通の人はそう。あなたは全ての加害者で恨まれる存在。憐れみを受けるのは被害者の人たち。あなたのことが世に知られたらみんなそう思うわ。でもだからこそ全員があなたを怖がって嫌うからこそ、私だけはあなたのことを辛かったのねって言いたいの。私だけはあなたを受け止めてあげたいの。
おかしな女だ。普通の女だと思い続けてきたが撤回する。お前も相当頭のネジが飛んでいるよ。
Well, ain't that the truth? He ain't wrong.
そうかもね。ねえ、私決めたことがあるの。聞いてくれる？おかしな女のおかしな言葉だけど。私やっぱりあなたから離れない。見放すこともしないし、あなたのことを好きなままでいる。だからね、もし誰かを殺したくなったら真っ先に私を殺して。
What on earth kind of proposal is that? What?
は？何を言っているんだポーリン。
だってもうあなたに誰かを傷つけてほしくないし、それに誰かを殺してしまって警察に捕まるあなたを見るくらいなら自分が死んだ方がいいもの。それでね、もし私を殺してしまったらその後に自首をして。
お前本気で言っているのか？
冗談でこんなこと言わないよ。ねえ、 あなたの衝動を止める鎖って私なんでしょ？
それはそうだが。
だったらその鎖の力にかけるわ。って今夜は早々に終わりそうになっちゃったんだけどね。鎖を失ってしまったらあなたはもう落ちるしかない。だから私はあなたの最初で最後の鎖になりたいんだ。私の他に鎖を作ってはダメ。
お前は本当に俺がどんな人間なのか分かった上で俺と一緒にいるというのか。
Normally, I would say that's a keeper, but if his impulses guide him to want to kill her down the line, then you know what? I don't think it's worth it. She should just let him go, but she obviously won't.
だって仕方ないじゃない。どうやったってあなたのことを嫌いになれないんだもの。きっと私にもあるんだよ。どうしても断ち切ることのできない恋心っていう鎖が。私は彼のことを咎めないことにした。彼がしてきたことも分かった上でそうしたのだから、共犯者にもなってしまうんだと思う。それでも私はこうしたいって思った。傍から見たらバカなことをしているように見えるだろうし、実際に私だって不安がある。こうして心の内をさらけ出してお互いに理解し合ったことで希望も少し見えたけれど、果たしてこの状態があと何年続いてくれるのだろう。十数年、数十年、彼は欲望を抑え続けられるのだろうか。考えると不安な未来しか見えてこない。でも今は寄り添うことのできたこの瞬間を大切にしていきたい。これが私が自分で決めた生き方なのだから。おはよう、ゆきまさ。ねえ見て見て、キッチンを勝手に使ってベーコンエッグを作ってみたの。ちょっと焦げちゃったけど味は問題ないと思う。
おはようポーリン。
どうしたの？そんな変な顔をして。
いや、ひょっとして昨日のことは夢だったのかと思ってね。
夢じゃないよ。だからほら、早くシャワーを浴びてきて。あの後疲れて寝ちゃったけど、やっぱりその服は匂いがついてるしよくないよ。
おう、昨日俺が不良を半殺しにしたこともちゃんと覚えている。本当。しかしだとしたら切り替えが早すぎないか。どうしてこんなに明るく振る舞えるんだ。まあ暗い顔をされるよりずっといいが、ポーリーンが俺の本性を知った上で朝食を作っていると、日常的な光景がひどく奇妙に見えるな。そうか。じゃあお言葉に甘えてシャワーを浴びてこようかな。
あ、そうだ。あとね、もう一つ言いたいことがあるの。
何かな。
私の前では普通の態度でいいんだよ。つまり猫かぶらなくて平気ってこと。
お前がそれでいいならそうするが、外向きの顔を作らないと俺は全く笑わなくなる。
それくらい構わないって。だって雪政の本当の姿を知っているんだし、今さら笑わないくらい何なのって感じ。それにぶっきらぼうでクールな雪政もかっこいいから好きだよ。
そうか。それはどうも。昨日殺されかけたというのに明るく振る舞えるとは。ひょっとして彼女は俺より異常なのでは。
ああ、今日も暇。お昼なのに閑古鳥。
Alright, guys, I'm going to end the video here for today. Thank you all for watching. That was quite the conclusion of both Yukimasa and Pauline's little thing they got going on. I'm actually quite surprised. To tell you the truth, I didn't know how it was going to turn out once the cat was out of the bag. I wasn't expecting that. The thing is, in general, the way I see it is that Yukimasa isn't really a bad guy. He just has these terrible impulses, and if it weren't for those impulses, I think he'd be a pretty decent guy overall. He would just be, I guess, an introvert, if anything. I wouldn't even go so far as to say a shut-in, but he would just be to himself, if anything. He wouldn't hurt anyone, but he just would be on his own. But again, he even felt remorse for what he did to Pauline. I mean, forget about everyone else, but at the very least, there's something there. There's something there that even Pauline noticed and she clings on to. So, otherwise, I'm actually, I like how it ended. I like how it was resolved. I don't know what I was expecting, to tell you the truth, guys. But the way it was resolved was fine by me. In fact, it couldn't have gone any other way, I guess. I mean, they're both messed up. Even Pauline. I wasn't expecting Pauline to be accepting and even coming up with her own answers to how she would handle the situation with Yukimasa. And here we are now. So we're going to continue on the next one, guys. Thank you all for watching.